Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's show, Tzu Chi volunteers in China are kicking off this year's first set of winter relief distributions in Beijing. In our continuing series of feature reports on food crisis, we find out why Taiwan's farmers are opting to leave their fields in fallow. And we meet a group of aircraft repairmen in Taichung who work behind the scenes to ensure our safety when traveling on airplanes. First up, in China, Tzu Chi volunteers have kicked off their annual winter aid distributions, with Beijing Tzu Chi volunteers traveling to Wangping town in Men-Togo districts to hand out rice, flour, blankets and jackets, helping a total of over 300 residents. Though each bag of flour weighs 30 kilos, volunteers work together to move the heavy supplies outside the warehouse to give residents the much-needed assistance.
Before the aid distribution, Tzu Chi volunteers from Beijing carry 30 kilos bags of flour, which the female volunteers carry in pairs.
We can't carry it on our shoulders like the male volunteers. I prefer to hold it and move it outside because it's easier for me.
Every volunteer works together to move the heavy supplies to outside the warehouse, including 300 bags of flour and rice weighing 30 and 18 kilos respectively. Although the volunteers were not notified about having to carry the supplies in advance, they still volunteered to take on the work so that the aid distribution could go smoothly.
Many brothers and sisters have been carrying their supplies along starting before 7 a.m. We are happy to help.
The winter aid distribution was held at Wangping town, which Tzu Chi volunteers spent over an hour to get to. One of the volunteers is Liu Chuanyuan, who traveled from Shandong to help out.
After receiving Tzu Chi brothers and sisters' help and care, I know more about Tzu Chi.
This time around, the volunteers handed out one cotton-quilted jacket, one quilt, and one bag of flour and rice to each recipient.
Many residents showed up to pick up the supplies. They look quite happy and feel the warmth brought by Tzu Chi.
Tzu Chi's warmth and care will accompany the residents as they pass a winter full of blessing and happiness.
Now, in its 5th year, the New Shoot Scholarship Program, held by the Tzu Chi Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter in Malaysia, has more students than ever. This year saw an increase of 4,000 applications, as well as the addition of 3 new award categories for good behavior, scholastic achievement, and filial behavior. To deal with the large volume of applicants, 24,000 shifts of volunteers were mobilized to help out with home visitations and the mountains of paperwork. However, thanks to their teamwork and the efforts of teachers around the nation, 6,801 students received the scholarships without problems.
With every new group of students that comes to the stage, volunteers from Tzu Chi's Kuala Lumpur Selangor chapter bow deep as they present the students with this year's New Shoot Scholarship and school coupons.
Last year we had about 7,000 students apply. This year that number was 11,000. The students come from 555 different schools. So every day we have a huge stack of forms to send out. Although the numbers we are dealing with here are large, we are not worried because this year we mobilized 24,000 volunteers to help with the home visitations.
As the number of applicants and scholarship categories continues to grow, the work of home visitations has also increased. Fortunately, the volunteers have joined hands with those in the community to overcome these hurdles. In addition to more applicants, the award ceremonies and award items have also been expanded, and this year has seen the addition of 3 new scholarship categories.
In addition to the standard scholarship, we have also added categories that address good behavior, improvements in study, and filial behavior. Regarding these awards, we hope that teachers can help us find the appropriate candidates so we can encourage them further with these awards.
The yearly scholarships are a true manifestation of the spirit of Tzu Chi and are made possible thanks to the efforts and teamwork of countless volunteers and teachers around the country.
To help Hurricane Sandy survivors in the United States, Tzu Chi volunteers have been fundraising in 17 countries around the globe. Recently, a 3-day charity sale was held at the Tzu Chi Humanitarian Center in Taipei, Taiwan. And among the items on sale were DVDs and books donated by the Tang Meiyun Taiwanese Opera Company.
Tables filled with items for sale. This is not an auction, but a charity sale to raise funds for the Hurricane Sandy victims in the United States. The items on sale were all donated by the staff members at the Tzu Chi Humanitarian Center. Among the things on sale are DVDs and books donated by the Tang Meiyun Taiwanese Opera Company.
Great love has no boundaries, and everyone can contribute a little to help those in need. I decided to donate DVDs and books, hoping to encourage everyone to support this good cause.
At the Tzu Chi Humanitarian Center, staff members all give their best in supporting the charity sale in order to raise more funds to help the Hurricane Sandy survivors.
Also canvassing for donations for Hurricane Sandy victims are Tzu Chi volunteers in Ireland who started raising funds from those closest to them, as well as co-workers and shop owners in their community. After volunteers explained the idea behind the donation drive, many took the time to make donations and also film or write words of encouragement for the disaster victims.
Despite the heavy fog and low temperatures, this evening, Tzu Chi volunteers have taken to the streets to canvass donations for the victims of Hurricane Sandy. Volunteers first start with the shops around their community. At this store, volunteers carefully explain the goal of the fund drive.
And I just want to say to everybody that we're all thinking of you, and hopefully you'll get through this and stay strong. And also to the volunteers, you're doing a wonderful job, and you really are, you make such a difference, and you keep strong as well and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I pray deeply, all of us pray, keep you in our thoughts and prayers. Stay strong, keep the faith, and you will get through this hard time.
Many who donated also wrote cards of encouragement to encourage the victims to stay strong.
Things nicely.
In thanks, volunteers hand out peace charms from Taiwan, after which they explain their meaning.
You get a lot of blessing. All right. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
With everyone's help, not only are lives changed, but hearts are brought closer together.
As Taiwan's farmland reform is going into effect on January 1st of 2013, some senior farmers are opting to let their land lay fallow and receive subsidies instead of renting out their farmlands for others to work on, as they're afraid of bad tenants ruining their lifetime of hard work. Let's take a look at what the government is doing to help these senior farmers.
The sun is barely up, but here in Tainan, farmers are already working on their land. One senior, Ms. Hu, would rather let her land lay fallow and live on subsidized income than rent out her plot to a stranger. Those who are kind-hearted won't, but those who are out to take advantage of us will just take our land. I would rather have less income.
I've asked the senior landowners before why they won't rent out their plot to me, and they said that they are afraid of their land being repossessed, like when the 375 rent reduction went into effect.
Most senior farmers still work on their farm for fear of their land being ruined in just one season from dishonest renters. Many still have questions about the new farmland reform.
Some disreputable people will dig out the fertile soil and sell it and return the land back to the owner with mud.
At this time, the matchmaking role of the farm bank is vital to properly matching renters with landowners.
Some elderly are illiterate and so can't read what's in the contract. Our staff can explain the farm bank's purpose to them and the details of the contract between the tenant and the landowner. They will understand that contracts signed after the year 2000 are not affected by the 375 rent reduction.
The government has also stepped in to help show how to successfully plant imported crops and what type of machinery is most effective.
If we want to encourage farmers to plant crops of imported items like corn, then the government must teach the farmers how to get the best yields. In terms of techniques, we have established specialized departments that will assist farmers in getting started with crops like corn. We hope to be able to give them 50% support.
Although planting crops to offset imports is a good idea, not all grains are suitable for Taiwan.
If my adjacent plots are all rice paddies and I want to plant grain crops, since it's not the whole farmland, I will run into the problem of my crops being flooded. Areas in the north and in Hualien are not suited for corn, soybean, and sorghum.
For those areas not suited for growing grains, the Farmers Association have assisted farmers in growing of other crops that are better suited for the area, or can perhaps be exported.
We also have to provide a suitable outlet so farmers can sell their goods.
Tainan's Shu Zhengxiong has successfully switched to growing flaxseed, also known as sesame. Tainan produces 90% of Taiwan's sesame oil.
The Farmers Association hired someone to teach us how to plant the crops properly.
Every year we purchase over 181,000 kilograms of flaxseed, and we produce over 20,000 bottles of sesame oil.
The government is planning to use the next 4 years to reform farmland regulations, hoping to successfully motivate farmers to start growing crops again. But in order for this plan to succeed, the government needs to open lines of communication with senior farmers.
As civil war continues to rage in Syria, the number of refugees fleeing the war-torn country to neighboring Jordan continues to mount. City volunteers in Jordan have been doing their best to find ways to ensure that the young children among these refugees find some stability in their lives with regular schooling and meals.
As the civil war in Syria enters its 20th month, the number of refugees and their families fleeing the country continues to rise. Many of the refugees are children. The lucky ones have their parents by their side, while others have seen their families stripped apart by the conflict.
There were 47 children killed by gunfire there. They don't have any power to protect themselves and their human rights. They will ask me for toys. Sometimes they really don't have a choice. The parents said that they are fleeing and in the process have been beaten.
Not willing to let these children spend their childhood in such conditions, Tzu volunteers began to take action, inspiring many local volunteers to join the cause.
I was moved to the bottom of my heart. I enjoy helping others, regardless of their race, religion, or nationality.
By delivering emotional and material support, volunteers are hard at work ensuring these refugee children can enjoy a normal and stable childhood despite their desperate circumstances.
Recently, Tima medical staff from the Tzu Northern California chapter held a community health day on November 11th in Nauplitas. In addition to the checkups provided by doctors, dentists and ophthalmologists, the clinic also offered free flu shots for those that requested them. Everyone was moved by the dedication of the volunteers, and many chose to donate a little to help those still suffering in New York and New Jersey.
Today, traditional Chinese medicine practitioners, dentists and ophthalmologists are offering their services to low-income earners and recent immigrants, many who have not seen a doctor in 5 years or more.
So the chiropractor really relaxed my back and I really feel good. and I got my teeth checked and cleaned, so that was a great help.
It is not good health that keeps these patients away, but the fact that they lack health insurance to see a doctor.
In these areas in the U.S., flu shots, especially for low-income families, is incredibly important.
Without money, visits to a doctor are impossible, and without English skills, knowing which doctors to see is difficult. Volunteers from the Northern California TEMA chapter are here today to help exactly these people.
Many people hope to get seen by a doctor, but they might not be able to find the right kind of doctor. I hope to be able to help these people find the correct road to good health and show them where their problems are coming from.
Zhou Qining, currently in medical school, puts on a volunteer vest for the day to help out.
Having a great time. It's a little bit new to me. I wish I had a little bit better English or Chinese. I know I'm speaking English, but it's a great time. I'm having a great time here.
The Health Day brought relief to many here on the US's West Coast, while also gathering love and funds for those still suffering far away on the East Coast.
Yesterday, we learned the work of a wind turbine repairman, and in today's report on Taiwan's unique trades, we meet another group of repairmen, this time those who work on aircraft. As we all know, in the past few decades, traveling abroad has been made easy thanks to the convenience of airplanes. However, it takes a special set of skills to be able to inspect and repair these aircraft each time they return to base. Let's now go to Taichung and meet a team of repairmen from the Hanxiang Airline.
With a torch in hand, aircraft repairman Guan Chen-yong slides inside the narrow engine intake to check for any damage to the blades.
The strong suction of the engine might have sucked in birds and damaged the blades. That will increase the chances of a crash, so this is an important part of the inspection.
检查前起落架舱减震支柱有无渗漏。
With a thick repair manual in hand, Wang Siqing thoroughly checks the aircraft.
As the airplane lands, the undercarriage is under a great amount of vibration and stress, so we have to check the landing gear to make sure the wheels are fixed and whether the screws have loosened up or not.
Every part of the aircraft needs to be examined, including the wheels in the undercarriage.
An aircraft takes off and lands very quickly, so even a small crack may cause a flat tire.
Over the past few decades, Wang Siqing has accumulated volumes of knowledge on all different types of aircraft.
I check the flame tubes for cracks and it looks normal to me, so I'll check the flats out here.
As the engine starts, it creates a high-pitched roar, thus all the repairmen put on ear protectors and communicate with each other through hand signals. Two repairmen climb inside the pilot's compartment to carry out further inspections.
We check all flight instruments such as the altimeter, airspeed indicator, altitude indicator, and course deviation indicator to see if they are working. If not, it might be due to broken light bulbs or other system malfunctions.
In a team of 3, the crew checks the whole aircraft within 2 hours.
After years of working together, we are able to understand each other through hand signals alone. Seeing an aircraft return home safely is our greatest achievement.
The repair team has to ensure the inspection reaches a 100% completion, as one tiny mistake may lead to tragedy. As a civil aircraft returns to the Hanxiang base,
the repairmen begin their work by rinsing the engines.
After a plane returns home, we will find a large amount of salt attached to the fan blades on the engine, which we need to rinse off.
After cleaning the exterior surface of the aircraft, the team next works through the pilot compartment.
There are high-precision equipment installed in this aircraft, so the indicators and meters, as well as the lights, are all shown here. Whether it is the front of the cabin or the circuit breaker, we need to follow the standard operation procedure manual for every part of the aircraft.
Lin Zichen originally worked in an electronic industry, but decided to change careers to pursue his interest in planes.
Working as aircraft repairman, you need to have a good conscience. As your master says, even if it is a tiny screw or a seal, we have to be mindful and make sure it is fastened. Kind of attitude we have towards our job.
Working silently around every returning aircraft, these repairmen are the guardian angels of all passengers and pilots traveling in the air today. Looking at a situation differently is often a very effective way to get out of the rut you are in. 26-year-old Liang Shangchen lost the use of his right leg due to an accident 2 years ago. He was able to see past his disability after one nurse told him that he should count his blessings, as he still has the use of his other leg. Today, Liang has his own online bakery and continues to make delicious cheesecakes.
Cream cheese with sugar mixed in. Add milk to bring out the flavor. Liang Shangchen lost the use of his right leg in a car accident, so in his small kitchen, he hops to get around faster.
Hopping around really is like jogging.
Liang hasn't always looked on the bright side after losing the use of his right leg. It was really the firm words of a nurse that brought him around.
You can't give up on yourself. On your future, you lost the ability to use one leg, but many who have been paralyzed their whole life are much happier than you.
Liang needed a way to make ends meet during his rehab, and starting his own bakery seemed like a good solution.
I've moved past the dark days, as there is no point in pitying myself. I still need to get by each day.
This skill he has learned to bake cheesecakes isn't bad. I hope he continues to work at it.
In seeing Liang Shangchen's continued efforts in building a new dream, his parents find comfort in Liang's never-say-die attitude.
The Tainan Tzu High School places a strong emphasis on students' development in the 5 ways of life, which is virtue, wisdom, health, community, and aesthetics. As the school's sports day, students demonstrated what they have learned, including etiquette and environmental ideas. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.